Hey gamers, welcome back to the Part-Time Gamers Club podcast. Today's episode we're going to be talking about our top 3 shooting games and our opinions of each. We all made our top 3 games and we're going to talk about it. But first, let me introduce my co-host. Joining me today is Gio and Mike. Say hi, guys.
What's up?
And we all came to this video, hopefully, before, with our top 3 shooting games, specifically FPSs. Now, I'm going to start with our number 3 for me, but my number 3 might not be something you guys played, so I'm going to give a little spiel afterwards, if you don't mind. My number 3 is Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Las Vegas.
We literally talked about this. I did play it.
You played it. I'm talking to Mike. Mike has never played it.
You care about that? I'm pretty sure I played a time.
I didn't play. Actually, I didn't play the original Vegas. I played 2,
Oh, well, I'm talking about original Vegas.
but 2 was better.
I think I played that.
It's debatable on 2. Actually, you know what? I'm going to spend my time talking the difference between 2 and 1. I don't need to explain. I don't need to explain why 1 was better. I just need to know the difference between 2 and 1. The difference between 2 and 1 is simply maps and that gun mechanics or gunplay. It was different in 2. It was just vastly different in 2. The guns felt different, shot different, and recoil behaved differently in number 2. And the way maps were set up in number 2, 1, they weren't interesting, and 2, they limited too many options rather than in 1. In 1, you had multiple ways to attack the other side of the map. In 2, literally there was only 1 or 2 ways. Every other way was just either bait or very, very risky.
Right. Because there was a lot of spawn camping in Vegas too.
Exactly. 1 is by far, in my opinion, better than 2. But I digress. Tom Clancy Las Vegas number 1 is my number 3. Who else is number 3?
Like I said, I played 2, and I'm not in any way offended by you putting a Vegas game in there by any means. I don't know what Mike's personal opinion is on the Vegas games.
Yeah, but okay, Gio, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Borderlands.
The first one?
Yes. No, actually, Borderlands 2 is personally my personal favorite. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if anybody put 1 or 3 if they really like 3 a lot, whatever it was. But personally, for me, Borderlands 2 was definitely the one that, in my opinion, was the best one out of all of them. I enjoyed the most. I really enjoyed 1, obviously, if I played 2, but I felt like 2 was just a better game.
All right. Mike, do you have any additionals, or do you just want to go straight to your number 3?
I think we'll just go straight to my number 3.
All right, then what's your number 3 then?
Which I do like Borderlands. I think I played Borderlands 3. I think that was the one I played. That was pretty good. But my third choice for me is really up to grasp by any of the Halo games, but Halo 2 would have been my third choice. I just
would have been, or is it?
Is it your third choice?
Is it?
It's my third choice.
Is it your pseudo third choice? Are you trying to? It's sort of my third choice, but sort of not.
They acting like somebody talked them into it or something.
Yeah, it sounds like a complicated relationship. You know?
Oh man, taking Halo as a whole, I probably would have been at number 3, but I think 2.
So Halo as a whole. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go single one out. You could go Halo as a whole as number 3, but that's kind of like pigeonholing a lot of games into number 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I just think of like.
And some of them aren't worthy of being in there.
Yeah, some of them are good enough to be number 3, maybe even higher. Some of them don't deserve to be on the top 10 list.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Halo 2 would be my third choice.
All right.
I think that's too low, but.
Ooh, okay. Well, okay, fine. So if you think it's too low, then why don't you tell me the number 2, which means that game, the Halo 2, would have beat, or at least be on equal footing with. What's your number 2, Gio?
My number 2 is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is number 2 in my eyes. The reason I say that is it's just straight, simple to the point. I wasn't really into those war type games until that game. And if you were around to experience when the Modern Warfare games came about, I wouldn't argue with anybody if they put Modern Warfare 2 over Modern Warfare 1. The only reason I put Modern Warfare, the original one, is because it was also my introduction and it got me into that style of game and world of game. And personally, it was a finished game. It was a finished product. So, and I will say this. The one thing I feel like with a lot of the Call of Duties nowadays, especially with the kill streak system, I feel Modern Warfare, the original one, was the most balanced because everybody had the same kind of kill streaks. It was the same 3, 5, 7. You get that. I just felt like, I feel like now and some of the other ones that took place afterwards, how could I say? They added too much sometimes. I just felt like they add too much. Like there's too many options. There's too many, even some of the perks that they added compared to what was in Modern Warfare. I feel like Modern Warfare, the original one, was the best overall Call of Duty.
All right. Mike, what'd you have as number 2? What would you think it's better than Halo 2? I'm gonna bring this up this time.
It's better than Halo 2, but it's just for my preference, of course. I loved my second choice is Apex Legends, just for the sheer fact of the competition and fast pace it was, and I just really enjoyed the game, and I could probably go back into playing it again if I wanted to, but I have other things.
All right,
that would add my number 2 choice.
My number 2 choice is actually a single player game called Black. Let me give some context for the people that are definitely young as hell, who never heard this game before. It's a single player game that's very realistic in the sounds and the visuals of the gun. They've really focused on that aspect of it. So the sounds you hear when you shoot a gun is the actual sound from that gun. The muzzle flare, or the muzzle adapters, the extended mags, the cartridge sizes, the reload animations, even the stenciling on the gun is at least 95% accurate to the actual gun model. They went all in on making sure that the guns in the game were very realistic and to their counterpoint, or excuse me, to their references. The only 5% that they did was probably exaggerate recoil, so to balance the game pretty much. But besides that, the game focused on that element, and honestly, that the way the fluidity on when you reload your gun, or when you find a new mod, or when you fired a different weapon, and it feels so impactful that gameplay loop of just shooting a new gun feels nice. And I love that aspect of just having realism into a game, which the expansion of option, or the maybe more like the con of the game, is that they didn't have a lot of guns in the first place. The options wasn't expansive. That's why it's number 2 and not number 1. It's just there was not enough guns for that gameplay loop that made it better. But that's my number 2.
I know you said for the younger gamers, but I don't think Black is as old.
It came out in 2006.
Yeah, that's not as old as even if you think about the original shooters like Doom and stuff like that. Now, if you said one of those games,
sure, Doom, but I want you to know that was 18 years ago, GL. People who can vote now were born the time that Black came out. It is.
Thanks for making me feel old, Gerard. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
You wanted to throw shade.
Second time today. It's between you and my niece. I don't know who's getting worse at doing it for me.
You chose this path. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm gonna start off with my number 1 because I think it's a good callback to what you were doing. My number 1 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 as well. I think you put it too low. I think.
I didn't, and I'll make sure you understand why.
My choice is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1. Reasons, like your reasons as well. It put a lot of console gamers on the map. It became mainstream. It did a lot more. It put video games into headlines again. Because they're always in the headlines because of violence. But more importantly, I do think it kind of standardized what FPSs needed to be. Because if you didn't have a map and the ways to customize your weapons and a way to have perk systems, your game felt not enough. Any game like Quake had a good example would be Quake, Unreal Tournament, things like that. Those old arena shooters and things like that. Which the fun aspects was finding weapons on the map. Then there were more powerful weapons. This is an element in Halo as well, where you have the power weapons on the map that become focal points for fighting. In Call of Duty, you don't have that. You just have your kit and you're going out to kill people, and that ultimately ended up being a very fun gameplay loop. That was the first time that gameplay loop was fun enough that people who didn't play video games would only play Call of Duty. There are still people to this day that only play Call of Duty. That game, even after iteration of pure trash recently, that gameplay loop is still fun. No one complains about the loop. The only time people complain is because there are bugs, there are balance issues, or the worst case scenario, the UI sucks. No one complains like this gameplay loop is boring. No.
The maps kind of suck.
Yeah, the
maps.
Nobody's complaining, hey, this gameplay loop sucks. Maybe you should try something different. No one complains about that. It's the core gameplay of just picking your guns, picking your perks, and going onto a map to just kill people is fundamentally what Call of Duty is known for and what a lot of games or FPSs have been striving for. And since they're the first, just like in many cases like Blizzard with WoW or like Valve with like Team Fortress, those games, or not Team Fortress, excuse me, Counter-Strike, those gameplay loops literally fundamentally secure them in history forever.
Well, Counter-Strike 2, I think, is still the most popular FPS played right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, those gameplay loops that are like fundamentally just to their core are amazing. Is reason why people will go back to the games even if they know they're not good for them. It's like a toxic relationship.
And it's a toxic community.
Exactly. Hand in hand. Hand in hand.
And it's tied together perfectly.
But yeah, that's why the reason why I put Call of Duty 4 so high, not just in my own, but just like from what everyone has been talking about. I believe Call of Duty 4 has to be at least on top 5, bare minimum, for everyone. At least who's played it. At least for everyone who's played it, I think it's top 5. But for me, it's like number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 as my top.
That's number 1.
I think that
Call of Duty 4
is Modern Warfare. Yes, that's the whole thing.
That's the original.
I just say Modern Warfare 4 just so used to it.
Dyslexia is over here.
I was gonna say, I was like, were you playing 1, 2, and 3, which was just World War video games? I think it was World War II specifically.
World at War.
No, not World at War. World at War is after Modern Warfare.
After Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3 are literally World War II games. They're old school games.
They were.
And the reason
didn't
why,
pop off until.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say
Medal
of Honor had that held down the original.
Yeah.
I remember those games. I did play that.
Yeah, I played a couple Medal Honors. They're not bad.
They're not bad at all.
Mike, what do you got as number? You said your number 1's Call of Duty as well?
Yeah, it is. It's just when I started playing, got into Call of Duty, I just loved it. I even played a single game mode that they had. So I mean, it was a great game. I enjoyed it. It was either between that or the Black Ops, but really when I play Black Ops, it's more for the battle royale. So I mean, I can't really.
I can't get
Oh,
behind
you're talking about
Warzone.
You're talking about Black Ops.
Warzone. He's
3
talking about
or
Warzone.
4?
He's talking
I
about
think that's
Warzone,
4.
and that's
Well, Black Ops.
No, he's
4,
talking about Blackout. It's called Blackout. On
It's
Call
called
of Duty
Blackout.
Black Ops, it's called Blackout.
oh
Yeah.
okay.
That's the original one before Warzone.
I thought it
It's
was,
Blackout. Yeah, it's called Blackout.
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of battle royale, so
I love battle royale because I think
So-
I love competition really. So,
Look,
but
I enjoyed the side things that Call of Duty had before Warzone / Blackout. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the zombies.
Zombies.
OG zombies, new zombies, not my particular type, but that's because it's on a Warzone map or Warzone style. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, besides the point. Before I get into a rant, they had I don't want to say mercenaries. What is it called? The time missions that you would do in like Modern Warfare. Spec Ops. You had Spec Ops.
Oh, Special Ops. Yeah, Special
Yes.
Ops. Yep.
You had Spec Ops and Zombies, which, in my opinion, if I was going to play the game single player or with friends co-op wise, that's what I would do. Over like playing multiplayer co-op, unless I'm like with my clan or anything like that. But yeah, like multiplayer, I'll go play by myself. If I'm playing with friends, I'd go play the opposite version, either Zombies or Spec Ops. Because in my opinion, those are better than Warzone. And I'm going to die on this hill. I know I'm the minority here, but I'm going to die on this hill.
Well, I'm with my number one, and my number one is Halo. Like I told Mike, I felt like he put that a little too low.
You said Halo 2, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I say Halo 2 is because I did Halo 1 also, but I played Halo 2 first, and then I went back to Halo 1. But Halo 2 for me was the first FPS that grabbed my attention, made me want to play. And Halo 2, with their rank system and the PvP that they had, I really didn't get into the ranked PvP until Halo 3. But that system and the multiplayer facing each other, that was like how people talk about GoldenEye back in the day. Just a little shout out to Golden is how I talk about Halo 2. Even though I was old enough, and that was my teenage years technically, or earlier teenage years, GoldenEye. Halo 2 it elevated FPSs in my eyes, and it made me an FPS fan. I feel like if I didn't Halo 2, I would have never played Call of Duty. That's just me personally, because I never really cared for FPSs prior to Halo. I just did not. And then, like you said, it had that power weapon stuff, but I don't know what it is about the original Halos, like Halo 2 through 3. Even Reach was good too, don't get me wrong, but they were just fun as hell. Like, it was just fun with the vehicles and the outer space feel, like the crazy jumps you can do, and just like with the crazy rocket launchers boosting yourself up and just doing crazy stuff with the sniper rifle. Really, the no scope idea came from Halo. Like what people do in Call of Duty later on now, that scope, that's the thing we did in Halo. That came from Halo. So for me, Halo 2. Go ahead.
I was going to just say it's more skillful in Call of Duty than in Halo, but that's besides the point. Continue.
Yeah, well, if you want to say that, that's fine.
That's not saying it is true. Anyway,
because
continue.
you're trashing Halo, I know. Got it.
I for one didn't play Halo that much. That's only because I had a PlayStation and Halo wasn't exclusive to Xbox. I only had the original Xbox, and that stopped.
I had Halo.
It had OG Halo. I had OG Halo.
And Halo 2. It had Halo 2 too.
Yeah, but
Halo
I didn't get
3
Halo
came out
2.
in 360.
And I didn't get Halo 3, and I didn't get Halo 2 because Halo 3 already came out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was like, I'm not going to pick up Halo 2 because everyone's moved on to Halo 3. I have my PlayStation 4 and at the time, PlayStation 3. I'm just going to focus on playing PlayStation 3, which is why I was playing Tom Clancy Las Vegas.
And it's funny because I think you said this off camera, but you said Vegas, you were top 10, right?
A top 10 on the top 10 on the leaderboards, and then for the top 10, well, it's mostly like top 20, 25. We would see each other because our MMR was so high. We would see each other so often. It would just be a fucking lobby of just the top of the leaderboards every time.
Yeah.
So I would just. Yeah.
What's funny is Alex, his cousin. The reason I even started playing Halo 2 was because Alex had it, and his cousin was top 10 in the leaderboards for
for Halo.
I'd say the world technically, yes, at that time for Halo 2. So when his cousin would come over, we would all three play. And
Destroyed.
Bro, I don't know why, but I got so competitive about it. Even though I knew he was like the top 10, and I knew I couldn't really touch him like that, but it made me want to get better at the game, and facing him made me a lot better. Like, I didn't realize when me, Alex, and him used to fuck around, and Alex, me and him would just shit on Alex, to be honest. Alex couldn't touch us, but I just continued to get better facing him. And then when I started doing multiplayers with Steve and Greg and a couple of other friends, I was just like leagues above them, and I didn't even realize how good I got from just facing somebody that's a top 10 player of the world. And then I started doing the ranks and stuff like that in Halo 3. But Halo 3 was a little different. It was a little different from how Halo 2 played. I mean, you could expect that out. You usually expect that from any game. So, but yeah, I just, that's why it's nostalgic for me in a way too. But like I said, it was my introduction, and I feel like if I didn't play Halo, I wouldn't know about or wouldn't care for the Call of Duty games the way I ended up caring for them.
All right. Well, I think we've all set our lists. I'm gonna be putting our lists. Hopefully, I put the lists. If not, cut this out. I'll put up our lists again on our faces to let everyone know our top 3 for each person. And with that being said, does anyone have any final remarks or any honorable mentions? Just one though. Going to choose one game for honorable mention before we go off.
I think we might have mentioned it before, but we got to shout out Doom.
Yeah, we did mention it, but we didn't talk much about it. Doom definitely put like FPSs on the map, or just like in general, just video games pretty much, but shooters on the map as a whole. Let the idea of that camera view and those gun and having multiple gun options and ammo. Majority of video game shooters depend on the mechanics that Doom has put out.
And I want to shout out the arcade shooters. We talked about it off camera, but like Time Crisis and them. We got to shout them out, bro. Those
okay.
those
all right.
shit.
Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. I want one of two comments down below. I would like your personal favorite shooter game, or your top 3, either works, or tell me why or why not Time Crisis or those arcade shooters are or are not FPSs. Tell me, because I personally don't. I want other people to get a say in. I personally don't think Time Crisis or House of the Dead or like hell, even like Terminator, they don't count as FPSs because you have no control over the camera and it is shared. So it's like on rails. It is a shooter, but I don't consider it a first-person shooter because the camera is not in first person.
All right. We're not going to go into this.
Isometric.
We talk about this another day.
we can argue till the cows come home, but with that being said,
him out. I was just giving him a shout out. That's it.
I would just want the public. Anyway, thank you for joining us for another episode. We hopefully will see you in the next episode. See ya.
Later.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Part-Time Gamers podcast. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And follow us on our other social platforms on TikTok, Instagram, and Discord. Links for those will be provided in the description. Thank you again. We will see you on the next episode of the podcast. And make sure you make some time for video games. Peace.